Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. Now, let's get into the video. The JWST telescope is one of the best things that mankind has ever invented, and the possibilities that it presents are endless. In this video, we're talking about how James Webb Telescope is going to capture the first images of alien civilization. But before we begin, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. Number 7. Are we alone? If there's one question that we as a species have been asking ever since we got intelligence, it is whether we are truly alone in this vast universe or not. That has been one of the major goals of our civilization, and when we finally got the expertise required to explore outer space, each mission that was sent out there had this one question as one of its end goals. Every new discovery that is made by the telescopes that are already out there is astonishing to scientists and the people all over the world, simply due to the possibility of this one question being answered. Well, as you might have expected, James Webb has the same mission as well, and seeing the capabilities that it has, it very well might answer that question. Number 6. First image from JWST. The James Webb Space Telescope, or JWST for short, has been in the works for more than a decade. It was first envisioned back in the 1990s, and ever since, the people at NASA have been hard at work making this telescope a reality. When it finally launched in 2021, people all over the world were waiting in anticipation for the images it would send back. But due to the fact that this is one of the most complicated systems ever made, it took a while to get things in order. Before scientists had gotten the alignment of the 18 mirrors down to a T, they were generous enough to share an image that had been captured early in the calibration process. They had been aiming at a single star, but due to the 18 mirrors being unaligned, all we saw were 18 dots scattered over a dark black background. But even though this image wasn't perfect, it did show the telescope was in fact working and that it could send back such images. Just getting to this point was a big hurdle for the people at NASA, so let's talk about how long it took to get here.
For you that don't know, the James Webb Space Telescope is going to be the successor to the Hubble Space Telescope.
Number 5. Delays with the telescope. As we mentioned previously, this telescope has been in the works for nearly a decade. It was initially shown to the public in its completed configuration all the way back in 2013, but ever since then, new issues have kept on popping up. Some issues had to do with the intricate heat shield that this telescope used, and as time went on, people started to lose hope in the telescope. Thankfully, due to the brilliance of the people working at NASA, they were able to sort through those issues. But an interesting thing happened in the meantime. One of the goals of JWST was to discover distant planets, but due to the delays, an entirely new technology was developed that helped in discovering what are now known as exoplanets. This goes to show that science doesn't wait for any one thing and is always speeding along.
Concentrates all the light in a single place, but the images, the segments themselves are not cooperating. They're not working together.
Number 4. Detailing exoplanets. Now that we're on the subject of exoplanets, let's talk about what they are and what has been discovered thus far. Many of these exoplanets are very small in size, and one of the ways they have been discovered is that when they come across the sun that they're orbiting, they tend to dim the light coming from that particular sun. In this way, the size of these planets can be determined. But there is one thing that cannot be determined from this. That one thing is the atmospheric composition of the exoplanet itself. And due to this information not being available, JWST was accelerated in its development. You might be thinking what these exoplanets are in the first place, and why are we intent on discovering them? Well, exoplanets are basically planets that are found outside of our solar system, and they orbit a star that is different from ours, aka the Sun. The reason scientists want to discover them so much has to do with finding new places for our civilization to live in. Even though these planets are far away from ours, some of them might have conditions that support human life to thrive on the surface. Number 3. Comparison with Hubble. The James Webb Space Telescope is not the first telescope that NASA has sent into outer space. One of the other famous telescopes that is out there right now is the Hubble telescope. It has been making new discoveries since the 1990s, and it was exactly due to the success of that telescope that NASA decided to move forward with another one. The JWST is not a copy of that telescope either. For comparison's sake, JWST has a 6.5 meter mirror, while Hubble only has a 2.5 meter mirror. One other huge difference between the two telescopes is that Hubble primarily observed the universe in terms of ultraviolet and visible light. While this did lead to a lot of discoveries, these were in fact limitations for the telescope. Due to the presence of clouds in outer space, visible light was often limited as to how far it could travel. Due to this, JWST will be observing the universe in the infrared spectrum. This means that it can peer back into the universe and see all the infrared light that has been traveling for billions of years. This is why some scientists have termed this as peering back into the past. Number 2. Newer methods of discovery. Another major difference between the two telescopes is the difference in technologies that are on board. As we mentioned previously, the telescope is going to be looking for more exoplanets that have been discovered thus far. One method that is going to be used to accomplish this goal is called transmission spectroscopy. This was only possible on JWST due to it being able to look at infrared light in the universe. This will not only end up discovering more exoplanets, but will also give back more detailed compositions of the planet that it ends up discovering. Infrared light has the ability to convey details that would otherwise not be conveyed through visible light. As such, many new worlds are just waiting to be discovered. Isn't that exciting to think about?
The James Webb Space Telescope is the biggest, most complex telescope that NASA has ever launched into space.
Number 1. Searching for signs of life. Due to the fact that JWST can look at the chemical composition of an exoplanet's atmosphere, it can even detect which kind of elements are present in it. This will be especially useful when it comes to discovering life on other planets. One indication that someone is living on another world might come as a result of detecting some elements that might not be naturally made, for instance, CFCs. Even in our history, we were once very fond of CFCs, and they wreaked havoc on the ozone layer over the poles. If such a thing happened on another planet, it could be observable by the telescope. One of the systems that have been discovered previously is the TRAPPIST-1 system, which is composed of multiple planets orbiting around a sun. These planets are thought to possess an atmosphere that is viable for human life, and JWST is one telescope that can go about confirming these details, and potentially many more like them. So in the end, the possibilities for this telescope are endless, and there's no telling what it might end up discovering.
This allows us to take a picture of the primary mirror of the telescope. People have referred to it as a selfie. Right? Well, that's what it is, actually.
These were some of the details of JWST being capable of capturing unimaginable things. It is a testament to the engineers and scientists at NASA that they are able to accomplish such things in the first place. And that brings us to the end of the video. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the bell so you don't miss out on future videos. If you enjoyed the content, then do leave a like. So until next time, take care and goodbye.